Jax Taylor confirmed that he's leaving the Valley after Season 2. He joined the Bravo show in Season 1 and took fans inside his life over the course of the last 2 seasons, from the shifting dynamics in his relationship with Brittany Cartwright as their marriage ended to the many changes in his friendships. In his statement about his exit from the show, Jax hinted at what he'll be focused on next. "Right now, my focus needs to be on my sobriety, my mental health, and co-parenting. Taking this time is necessary for me to become the best version of myself, especially for our son Cruz." Why is Jax Taylor leaving the Valley after Season 2? He was also candid about the ups and downs he experienced during his time on the Valley, adding, "After an incredibly challenging year and many honest conversations with my team and producers, I'll be stepping away from the next season of The Valley." Inside Jax Taylor's Season 2 journey on The Valley. The current Season 2 of The Valley has followed Jax's journey as he went into inpatient treatment to focus on his mental health. The season has also taken fans inside his split from Brittany, with whom he co-parents their son, Cruz, as they each started a new chapter. What Jax Taylor shared backstage at the Valley Season 2 reunion. While Jax is departing from the Valley for the next season, he was on hand to film the Season 2 reunion back in May 2025. The seating chart revealed that Jax will be seated next to Andy Cohen for the sit-down. Jax spoke to BrevoTV.com backstage at the reunion taping in Los Angeles. There, he shared how he was feeling about the day. "How do I feel? I've been down this road, I don't know, 10 times, and I've been pretty much hammered every time, so I have pretty thick skin," he said in the exclusive interview, referencing his many reunions from his Vanderpump Rules days. "I'm gonna go in and hear everybody out, and I hope everybody hears me out and kind of take it from there. My anger is not so much there anymore." While the interview took place weeks before he confirmed his exit from the show, he did note backstage that his focus remains on co-parenting Cruz amid his split from Brittany and to support her in her next venture. Jax Taylor, surprisingly composed, sat next to Andy Cohen, a familiar glint of a smile playing on the host's lips. It was May 2025, and the air was thick with the lingering scent of drama and the unspoken promises of a new beginning. But for Jax, it was an ending. An exit. A final bow on a stage he'd occupied for far too long. He'd done this dance countless times before, the hot lights, the probing questions, the emotional revelations. But this time felt different. The anger, a constant companion for years, was a dull ache instead of a burning inferno. The desire to defend, to deflect, was replaced by a quiet resolve. "How do I feel?" He'd mused to the BrevoTV.com camera backstage, a wry smile touching his lips. "I've been down this road, I don't know, 10 times, and I've been pretty much hammered every time, so I have pretty thick skin." The self-deprecating humor was still there, a defense mechanism he'd honed to perfection. But beneath it, a new layer was forming, a fragile yet undeniable vulnerability. The journey to this reunion, to this pivotal moment, had been a tumultuous one. Season 2 of The Valley had peeled back the layers of Jax's life, exposing raw nerves and difficult truths. It started with the very public unraveling of his marriage to Brittany. The cracks had been showing for a while, subtle at first, then widening into gaping chasms. Fans had watched, often with a mix of pity and fascination, as their once fiery romance flickered and threatened to extinguish. The co-parenting of their son, Cruz, became the central thread weaving through the narrative. Each awkward exchange, each strained smile for the cameras, underscored the fragile tightrope they walked. Jax, in his usual fashion, oscillated between moments of genuine concern for Cruz and flashes of the old, impulsive Jax who seemed intent on self-sabotage. But something shifted this season. A deeper, more significant struggle began to emerge, one that wasn't about relationship drama or friendship squabbles. It was about Jax himself. The show chronicled his decision to enter inpatient treatment, a stark and courageous admission that he needed help. For years, his struggles with mental health had been whispered about, hinted at, often dismissed as mere Jax being Jax. Now it was out in the open, raw, and undeniable. The cameras followed him, albeit carefully, into this vulnerable space. Viewers saw glimpses of a man grappling with his demons, confronting the patterns of behavior that had plagued him for so long. The bravado, the quick wit, the charming arrogance, they all receded, replaced by a quiet introspection. It wasn't always pretty. There were moments of frustration, of backsliding, of the familiar Jax rearing his head. But there were also moments of genuine insight, of a nascent understanding that the path he'd been on was unsustainable. Brittany, too, was on her own journey. While their lives remained intertwined through Cruz, she was carving out a new path for herself, a chapter free from the relentless cycle of their on-again, off-again dynamic. Jax, in an uncharacteristic display of maturity, spoke backstage at the reunion about his desire to support her in her next venture. It was a quiet acknowledgement that their story, as a couple, was over, but their commitment as parents remained paramount. The reunion taping itself was a strange blend of past and present. The familiar faces from Vanderpump Rules, his longtime friends, now mostly estranged, were a stark reminder of his previous life, a life built on a foundation of reality TV and the relentless pursuit of drama. He'd reveled in it then, thriving on the attention, the conflict, the chaotic energy. Now it felt exhausting. The thick skin he claimed to possess was, in reality, a shield, one that was slowly but surely cracking. Andy Cohen, ever the master orchestrator, navigated the conversation with a practiced ease, pulling at threads of past grievances and present tensions. Jax, for the most part, listened. He offered explanations, apologies even, but without the usual vitriol or defensiveness. There was a quiet strength in his stillness, a sense that he was observing, rather than participating in, the familiar circus. The elephant in the room, of course, was his impending departure. Though not yet officially announced to the public, the decision had been made weeks ago, after an incredibly challenging year and many honest conversations with my team and producers. He'd hinted at it backstage, in those quiet moments before the cameras rolled, when he spoke of the lessened anger, the focus on Cruz. The statement he would later release was carefully worded, a public declaration of a private battle won. Right now, my focus needs to be on my sobriety, my mental health, and co-parenting. Taking this time is necessary for me to become the best version of myself, especially for our son Cruz. It wasn't a sudden epiphany. It was a culmination of years of struggle, of hitting rock bottom and slowly, painfully, clawing his way back up. The show, ironically, had been both a catalyst and a mirror. It had amplified his flaws, showcased his mistakes, but it had also, in its own invasive way, forced him to confront them. The relentless gaze of the cameras had become a constant reminder that he couldn't hide, couldn't pretend. Leaving the valley wasn't an act of cowardice. It was an act of self-preservation. It was an acknowledgement that the reality TV machine, while providing a platform, was also a relentless engine that consumed and distorted. He needed to step away from the manufactured drama, the constant need for a narrative, and focus on building a real life, a stable life, for himself and for Cruz. The best version of himself. It was a phrase he'd thrown around before, often without true conviction. But this time, it felt different. It wasn't about being the best reality TV personality, the most entertaining villain, or the most dramatic friend. It was about being a healthy father, a clear-headed individual, a man who could navigate the complexities of life, without the crutch of alcohol or the destructive patterns of his past. As the reunion wrapped, as the lights dimmed and the cameras were packed away, Jax felt a strange sense of liberation. The exhaustion was still there, but it was mixed with a quiet hope. He hadn't stormed off the set, hadn't lashed out in anger. He had sat there, calmly, listening, speaking his truth, and preparing to walk away. The journey ahead would be challenging. Sobriety was a daily commitment, mental health a continuous process, and co-parenting with an ex-wife, even an amicable one, was never truly easy. But for the first time in a long time, Jax felt a sense of purpose beyond the confines of a television show. He looked forward to the mundane moments, school drop-offs with Cruz, quiet evenings at home, the simple rhythm of a life lived away from the constant scrutiny. He wanted to learn to be present, to truly engage with his son, to build a foundation of trust and stability that had been lacking in his own upbringing.